After reading the first chapter of the book Ethical Leadership by Fluker, the idea that I wanted to really focus on for my presentation is the idea of being an apostle of sensitiveness. This was something that Howard Thurman discussed in the book, and I thought it would be a good thing to reflect on for my screencast. Taking a closer look at what it means to be an apostle of sensitiveness. So I kind of just used a thesaurus actually to find some different meanings to the word apostle, and some that came up were champion, promoter, or advocate. For sensitiveness was thoughtfulness, complexity, and searching. So I think what Thurman was getting at with his idea of being an apostle of sensitiveness was knowing your heart and achieving a closeness to God in which you know your inner self, and that brings you closer to God. So in the book, what he says is to be an apostle of sensitiveness is to have a sense of what is vital, a basic underlying awareness of life. So to achieve that is to be sensitive, and then to champion that and promote that sensitiveness in other people is what it means to be an apostle. So then we look at different paths to find our inner selves, and Thurman discussed meditation as a way to find your inner self. I've also found a website about a woman who was looking for herself, and she found spiritual guidance with a Buddhist monk named Yut. And a quote from Yut that she had included in her post was, "Meditation is a way to know your true self. All you need to know is within yourself. Seeking it externally in the world will only take you so far. You need to look within." Some of the questions that Thurman thought we should ask ourselves are, what are you trying to do with your life? What kind of person are you trying to become? And by directing those questions inward and really taking that deep look at ourselves and what we are really trying to do is a way that we can increase our sensitiveness and gain that closeness to God that Thurman believed was so crucial for ethical leaders. And he uses a quote that I'm going to read here about an inward sea. And it says, "There is in every person an inward sea, and in that sea there is an island, and on that island there is an altar. And standing guard before that altar is the angel with the flaming sword. Nothing can get by that angel to be placed upon that altar unless it has the mark of inner authority. Nothing passes the angel with the flaming sword to be placed upon your altar unless it be part of the fluid area of your consent. This is your link with the eternal." So here Thurman is saying that the altar is our heart, and our heart is guided by an angel with a flaming sword. And God had placed a cherub with a flaming sword to guard the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. So he's using that as a symbol, like our hearts are guarded. So we have to take the values and our experiences, and they journey through this sea, and then they have to pass that guard before they truly become a part of us, and we place them on the altar, which is our heart. And then it is those values and those parts of us, those experiences that make it to that altar. That's what we are, and that's how we develop that closeness to God. So why is it important for leaders? Why is it important as an ethical leader to have a personal awareness and that personal connection? And I have just a short clip of Howard Thurman speaking about the connectedness of all of us with each other. So we'll just take a listen to that here, and then we can see why it is so important as an individual that we have that connection so that we can connect with others.
including man. Every living thing belongs to every other living thing. And I can never be what I want to be until the last living manifestation of life is what it ought to be. For better or for worse, I am tied into the idiom of everything that lives. And if I forget this, I profane God's creation. If I remember it, I come to myself in you, and you come to yourself in me.
So I think in that video, he really just expresses how important it is for us as ethical leaders to find ourselves so that we can help others find ourselves. And by them finding themselves, they help us. It's really just a circle of people helping each other become better people. So the role of the ethical leader as an apostle of sensitiveness. In the book, he says, ethical leaders, therefore, are apostles of sensitiveness, transfigured and transforming actors who present themselves to the world as symbols and for instances of what is possible and hopeful. So really, I thought this was a great play on what we've learned about so far in Johnson as far as leading by example and that importance of presenting that example as an ethical leader. So once we have been transfigured and we become fully aware of our purpose and what we want to achieve and really know our motivations and take that critical look as far as what we want and that honest look at ourselves to what is motivating us, we then, can show other people through our example what they can do to become that. And that's how real change happens. That's how, as an ethical leader, we are sure we're making ethical decisions and that we are inspiring people to become ethical themselves. So here are my references for this was the Fluker text and then the blog entrance about the woman who was learning about herself. I also included a helpful link, which is just another sermon from a different reverend who gave his sermon about Howard Thurman, and it's about the quote about the inward sea. So there was a lot of extra information in that sermon as well. I hope that this has helped shed a little bit more light on the idea of being an apostle of sensitiveness.